What would you do if your billionaire father gave you everything, except the truth? Olivia Lawson stood on the marble balcony of her father's Malibu mansion, the Pacific stretching endlessly before her. The ocean breeze felt cold, almost like it carried secrets. It was her 25th birthday, and everyone expected the usual: champagne, diamonds, and luxury cars lined in the driveway. But this year, Ethan Lawson had promised her something different. Something that would change her life forever. His words echoed in her head all morning. Olivia had always loved her father, but she never trusted his surprises, because every one of them came with a hidden lesson, a test, or a silent condition. As the clock struck 8 p.m., Ethan appeared, calm, composed, carrying a black envelope sealed with gold. "Happy birthday, Olivia," he said, his tone smooth but heavy. She forced a smile, trying to read his eyes. Inside the envelope wasn't money or property deeds. It was a key, small, silver, engraved with her name. "Your life changes tonight," he whispered. Everyone around clapped, unaware of the tension between them. Olivia's heart raced. A key to what? And why did his gaze feel almost apologetic? Later that night, when the guests were gone, Olivia asked him what the key opened. Ethan simply said, "It's time you see what I built this empire for." His voice cracked slightly, a sound she'd never heard before. He turned away before she could ask more. And for the first time in years, Olivia felt that her father wasn't celebrating her birthday. He was confessing something. The next morning, Olivia drove along the Pacific Coast Highway, the silver key hanging around her neck like a secret. Her father's driver had handed her an address scribbled in Ethan's handwriting: Lawson Cliff Estate. She didn't even know such a place existed. As the sun rose over the ocean, the road narrowed, leading to a secluded iron gate covered in vines. The same golden L crest from her family's company was carved into it. Her pulse quickened. She inserted the key, and the gate opened with a mechanical hum, revealing a massive glass mansion perched on the cliff, untouched, quiet, almost too perfect. Inside, it smelled like cedar and dust. Paintings lined the walls, her mother's old artwork, the ones she thought were lost. Olivia froze. "Dad, what is this place?" she whispered, though no one was there to answer. Olivia wandered deeper into the mansion, following faint echoes of her own footsteps. The air was heavy with nostalgia and something darker. In the main hall hung a massive portrait, her mother, smiling faintly, holding baby Olivia. But beside it stood another painting she had never seen before, her father, younger, standing beside an unfamiliar woman. Olivia's breath hitched. The plaque beneath it read, "Ethan and Helena, 1995. But her mother's name wasn't Helena. Her mother was Margaret. She touched the canvas, feeling the texture of paint over secrets. Suddenly, she noticed a faint humming behind the portrait, mechanical. She pressed on the frame, and the wall slid open slightly, revealing a hidden room. The hidden room was small, lined with shelves filled with dusty folders, photos, and tape recordings. Olivia flicked on the light switch. Her eyes fell on a metal box labeled Project Helena. She opened it and found dozens of financial documents and letters, all signed by her father. One letter stood out, addressed to Helena Torres. The name felt familiar. She skimmed the content. "Your daughter will be cared for. She'll never know." Her stomach dropped. Daughter? Her fingers trembled as she read the next lines. Dates, transactions, hospital bills, all from the year she was born. Then she noticed something that made her heart stop. The signature at the bottom wasn't her father's usual one. It was forged or altered. She took a shaky breath, realizing this key didn't unlock a gift. It unlocked a lie. Olivia sat on the floor, surrounded by the wreckage of secrets, when an old landline phone in the corner suddenly rang. The shrill sound cut through the silence, making her jump. She hesitated, then picked it up. "Hello." Silence. Then, a woman's voice, calm, older, trembling slightly, answered, "You shouldn't have gone there, Olivia." Her heart pounded. "Who is this?" The voice sighed. Someone who knows why your father built that house.
Click.
The line went dead. Olivia's hand shook as she tried to redial, but the screen only flashed a no signal. The air in the room felt colder now. Somewhere, far away, she imagined her father smiling at her birthday party, pretending everything was fine, while the truth he'd hidden for 25 years finally started to unravel. Olivia stormed out of the hidden room, her pulse hammering. She needed answers, and only one person could give them. Grace Monroe, her father's lawyer. She drove straight to downtown Los Angeles, ignoring the ocean's sunrise behind her. Grace's office sat on the 40th floor of a glass tower, overlooking the entire city like a throne. When Olivia barged in, Grace didn't look surprised, almost as if she'd been waiting. "So," Grace said quietly, "you found the key." Olivia slammed the envelope on her desk. "Who is Helena Torres?" Grace exhaled, removing her glasses. "That's not a question I'm allowed to answer." Olivia leaned in, whispering, "Then I'll find out myself." As Olivia turned to leave, Grace added softly, "Just remember, truth isn't always a gift, Olivia. Sometimes it's a weapon." Back home, Olivia searched through her father's study, his private library lined with mahogany shelves. The smell of old paper and cigars filled the air. She flipped through old company files until she found one marked 1999. Confidential. Inside, she saw the name again, Helena Torres. But next to it, in faded ink, was another word. Mother. Olivia froze. Her vision blurred. Her father had always told her that her mother, Margaret, had died when she was 6. But this file suggested something else entirely, that Margaret wasn't her real mother. That there was another woman alive or dead. She didn't know. She whispered to herself, "Who are you, Helena?" as tears welled up in her eyes. That evening, Ethan invited Olivia to dinner at their Malibu estate. The table was set perfectly, crystal glasses, candles, the ocean beyond. "You look tired," he said casually, cutting his steak. Olivia stared at him, her mind burning with questions. "Dad, why did you hide a house from me?" she asked suddenly. Ethan froze for a split second, then smiled. "It wasn't ready." His tone was too calm. "And Helena Torres?" she pressed. The sound of waves filled the silence. He placed his fork down slowly. "Where did you hear that name?" She met his eyes. "In your secret room." His jaw tightened. "You were never supposed to go there." She whispered, "Why, Dad?" He didn't answer. He just stood up and left the table, leaving her with more questions than before. Truth has a strange way of showing up when you least expect it, and sometimes it drives a black car. As Olivia stormed out of the house after dinner, headlights flashed in the driveway. A sleek black sedan pulled up, and a man stepped out, tall, well-dressed, mid-30s, with a disarming smile. "You must be Olivia Lawson," he said. "I'm Marcus Hale, your father's partner." His voice was smooth, confident. She'd seen his name on company documents, but never met him in person. "He told me about you," Marcus continued, handing her a small folder. "You might want to see this before you ask him anything else." She took it wary. "Why are you helping me?" He smiled faintly. "Because your father isn't the only one with secrets." Before she could respond, he got back in his car and drove away into the dark. Olivia opened the folder in her car, her hands trembling. Inside were photographs, grainy but clear enough to recognize faces. Her father, a woman who looked like her, and a child about 3 years old. On the back of one photo, someone had written, "Helena and Olivia, 2004. Her chest tightened. She remembered being that age. The beach. The laughter. A woman's perfume she could never forget. Her real mother. Tears streamed down her face. She felt betrayed, but also, strangely, relieved. Finally, a piece of the puzzle fit. Then she noticed something else in the folder. A handwritten note. "If you want the truth, meet me where it began. Cliffside Hospital. Midnight." The signature was faded, but clear enough to read. It was her father's. Every secret has a birthplace, and sometimes it's a place that smells like disinfectant and regret. At exactly midnight, Olivia parked outside the old cliffside hospital, abandoned years ago. The wind howled through broken windows, and the emergency sign flickered faintly, like a dying heart. She held her phone's flashlight, stepping carefully over fallen ceiling tiles. The air reeked of rust and mildew. Somewhere in the distance, a metal door creaked. Her pulse raced. On the second floor, she found a patient file left on a dusty table. The name, Helena Torres. The admission date, June 14th, 2000, the day Olivia was born. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a photo of her father holding a newborn baby, but beside him was a Margaret. It was Helena, and the hospital bracelet on the baby's wrist read, Baby Girl Torres. Olivia found a small security box inside the hospital file cabinet. It was unlocked, almost like someone wanted her to open it. Inside was a single VHS tape labeled Delivery Room, June 2000. She took it home, dug out her old projector from storage, and pressed play. The footage flickered to life, grainy, unstable. She saw Helena, exhausted but smiling, cradling her baby. Then Ethan entered the room, taking the baby gently. She'll have everything she needs, he said to Helena, but no one must ever know. Helena cried silently as he walked away with the child. Olivia's breath hitched. That child was her. Her father had taken her away and rewritten her entire identity. She stared at the frozen screen, whispering, "What did you do, Dad?" Olivia waited for her father to come home. When Ethan entered the living room, still in his business suit, she stood holding the VHS tape. "You stole me," she said flatly. He froze. "Olivia, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," she snapped. "Helena Torres is my mother. Margaret wasn't." His face tightened, the calm billionaire mask slipping. "Helena was unstable," he said. "I did what was necessary." Olivia's voice broke. "You kidnapped me from my real mother." His tone hardened. "I saved you from her." They stared at each other in silence, the ocean roaring outside like an angry witness. Olivia stepped back, shaking her head. "No, Dad. You saved your reputation, not me." Later that night, Olivia returned to the hidden room in the Cliff Mansion. She searched again through the files and found something she'd missed, a sealed envelope addressed to her. The paper was yellowed with age, the handwriting elegant. She opened it carefully. Inside was a letter from Helena Torres. "My dearest Olivia," it began, "if you are reading this, you've learned what happened. I never wanted you to grow up in lies. Your father loved you in his own broken way, but he couldn't love me. I only hope you'll find the strength to forgive him, even if I couldn't." Tears blurred Olivia's vision. For the first time, she didn't feel angry, just hollow. Her mother's voice, after all these years, still carried warmth and sadness in every word. That night, thunder rolled over Malibu. Olivia stood by the balcony, the waves crashing violently below. She clutched her mother's letter, feeling the weight of both truth and betrayal. Ethan appeared behind her, drenched from the rain. "I know you hate me," he said quietly, "but you're all I have left." She turned, tears mixing with the rain. "Then tell me why you did it." He hesitated, his voice trembling. "Because Helena didn't die the way you think. She was murdered, and I've spent 25 years protecting you from the people who did it." Olivia froze. The wind howled, lightning flashed, and suddenly, everything she thought she knew shattered again. Lightning cracked across the sky as Ethan's words hung in the air. "Murdered?" Olivia whispered, barely believing him. Ethan nodded grimly. "Helena didn't die in childbirth." She was silenced. Olivia's mind raced. "By who?" Ethan hesitated, looking toward the ocean. "Someone from my company. Someone I trusted." He turned to her, rain dripping from his hair. "Marcus Hale." Olivia froze. "Your business partner?" Ethan nodded. "He loved Helena once before I did, and he never forgave me." Olivia stepped back in shock. The man who had handed her the folder, the man she'd started to trust, was the same one her father believed to be a murderer. The next morning, Olivia sneaked into her father's private office while he slept. His desk was immaculate, except for one locked drawer. Using the silver key again, she turned it open. Inside was a folder marked Project Phoenix. Dozens of emails, contracts, and security logs tied Marcus Hale to offshore accounts and suspicious payments dated back to the night Helena died. She scrolled through names. Grace Monroe. 2. Olivia's stomach twisted. Grace? The lawyer who warned her not to dig? Her world tilted. Her father, Marcus, Grace, they were all connected to the same secret. And she was standing right in the center of it.